Zoning Committee and Special Call Committee of the Whole meeting for Wednesday, June 14th. It is just a little past 3:30 in the afternoon, 3:33, and we are here to consider rezoning cases. So the meeting is hereby called to order, and we have meeting minutes from our last meeting. Did you have a chance to read them? Do you have a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the minutes this week.
Second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So our meeting minutes from the last meeting are approved. We have a rezoning case, item 3. Who's going to present?
I'll be happy to. Good afternoon. My name is Kim Sproul. I serve as the City Zoning Administrator in the Department of Planning, Engineering, and Permits. Our rezoning case today is ZAC 2023-3. This is located in the Eastlake neighborhood. It is an application to change zone district boundaries from CB1, which is contingency neighborhood business, to C2 general commercial in order to allow for an event center. The application was filed by Courtney Jones, who is the property owner, and the property is located at 6900 2nd Avenue South. So as I mentioned, the applicant plans on utilizing this building as an event center named Atlas 360. It will be a full-service event venue that will host weddings, receptions, corporate events, parties, baby showers, banquets, fundraisers, and holiday parties. The proposed hours of operation would be Monday through Thursday, noon until 10 p.m., and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 12 p.m. to 12 a.m. You should have a copy of the site plan in your packet. The property sits on approximately 0.37 acres of land, currently zoned CB1. Parcels to the north, south, and west are zoned R3, single family residential, and the parcel to the east is zoned CB1. The long-range land use plan identifies this property as residential low. And once again, the applicant is seeking C2 general commercial. An event center is permitted in C2 by special exception. So if the rezoning request is approved, the applicant would have to apply for a special exception through the City Zoning Board of Adjustment. The applicant would also have to go for the Zoning Board of Adjustment for a parking modification because he currently does not have enough parking on site for the event center. The application was reviewed by the city's landscaping staff, and prior to any permits being issued, we will need a landscape plan for the entire site. This will require a B2 landscape buffer on each side that is adjacent to a street, and a C landscape buffer along the alley. The Stormwater Division of Planning, Engineering, and Permits reviewed the project with all of the stormwater, floodplain, and soil erosion ordinances applying. The city's Department of Transportation reviewed the site plan and does not have any concerns with traffic flow, parking, or ingress and egress. The applicant did attend the Eastlake Neighborhood Association on May 2nd, and the neighborhood voted unanimously 24-0 to support the project. This property is located in the Eastern Area Framework Plan. An implementation committee has not yet been formed for this framework plan area. And on May 16th, 2023, the applicant went before the Zoning Advisory Committee, and they voted to unanimously recommend approval of the rezoning request. And that concludes our staff report. The applicant is present if you have questions.
Okay. Are you the applicant?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and before you speak, did I hear you say that our Department of Transportation had no problems with the parking?
That is correct. They
Even
did
though
not have
even
any.
though you told us that they have insufficient parking and they have to go to the ZBA to get?
A parking modification. That is correct. They did not have any problems with the site plan as presented.
Okay, thank you. Yes, sir. Please state your name and address and tell us what you're doing.
And
Okay.
if you want to do the table, the mic will pick you up a little bit better right here.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
So my name is Courtney Jones, and I am applying for the event venue for the particular property. I've actually been in the area since 2011. I own the property that's right next door to the subject property where I currently house mentally ill veterans. So I've been a part of the area for years. I've owned that particular building for a while, and Mr. Drake is here, which is the community president. So across the street, they used to have something called Cascade Plunge in the Cloud Room that was across the street from it. Well, they had numerous neighborhood events. And so when the new houses came over there, I felt like it was a need for something else in the neighborhood that will, accommodate different, events that the East Lake community had, and the different things that they had to offer. Mr. Drake and the community will transfer from meeting at the church to the event venue for their monthly meetings, free of charge. So everybody's welcome to come. Okay, sorry. So everybody's welcome to come, to the community meetings, anything like that. I just felt like that the building had just been sitting there, pretty much underutilized for a while. And so by the revamping of the area and the neighborhood, we felt like it was a good time, to open things up. And to piggyback on the parking situation, so I currently have 12 on-site parking spaces at the venue. But I have a letter from the neighbor next door that owns the building that's adjacent to it, which I have pictures of it. That's right adjacent to it. He has 30 parking places behind his parking lot that he has given me access to, and he has wrote a letter as well. So by him having 30 parking places behind his parking lot, my parking lot, we have pretty adequate parking spaces, not even counting the street that people can park on.
Counselor Tate, do you have any questions?
I gave the letter. This picture. It's just an extra copy of the inside of the building for the renovations that have been done.
Okay, before we ask our questions of the applicant, we'll hear also from any residents who are here. So I know you said the neighborhood president was here, and I know some residents have come in, and I know we received some emails from some, residents. So we'll hear from the neighborhood president first.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
I'm president of East Lake Neighborhood. Been living in that area now 42 years.
And your name?
And my name is Richard Drake.
Thank you.
And he came to us at our meeting at East Lake Neighborhood, and we have a large committee meeting, and people there voted unanimous. And the reason why is a lot of the people back in my days, we had Cascade Plunge. Cascade Plunge is soon tore down and moved, and we got houses in that neighborhood, real nice houses that's built and put there. But after I found out and talked around with all the neighborhoods and the vice president, secretary, and all that, we compensated with the gentleman here because there are several things that this building, this property can be used tremendously. Number one, the churches in the community say for a repast. Death in the family, some their funerals are large, and that would be a great thing for us. We also will be meeting there when we have back to school parties, for the kids and all that, those kind of things. So we thought it was a real good idea. With me not just being the president of East Lake Neighborhood, but a retired school principal. And we looked at all that information, and right behind the building, there's a church there. They have no problems when we have, when they need it, for those kind of things, for parking. So we don't have any problems. So we did some research, and we found out that before we voted yes for the gentleman here behind me, we thought it was a great idea, and he came to us with this idea, and we have no problem, not only just for our members in the community, those who attend, we have a good idea from the ministers in the community. And we meet every Tuesday, the first Tuesday of the month, at a household of faith. There is real nice church and everything, so we meet there, but if we get a chance in our meetings, or in large, whatever we need, we have something. So we thought that was a great idea, so that's why I'm, real complimentary with this project. If it wasn't, personally, we would have voted it down a long time ago, but we did our part to see what he had going on and what's going on in our community, and we just feel like that it will work. So this is what all we got.
Okay, thank you. Did you happen to talk to any of the people who actually live around this location?
The people who attend the meeting that live right down the street from it, and another one live on the other side of it, behind where the building, and we have no problem there.
Okay, thank you. Well, if you'll
Let
take,
me ask him a question.
Oh,
So, I hear Councilor Abbott ask you, did you have a chance to talk to the people around the parameter of where the building, and what I'm hearing you saying is just the people that attend your meetings and a few people. Did you survey or any other the neighbors that are in close proximity?
Well, what we did.
So,
Let me interrupt.
let me talk.
Okay.
Any others that are around, the neighborhood besides your people that attend your neighborhood meetings?
Okay, this is what I say. The neighbors who live in that proximity around, who attend the meeting, did the survey asking people in their neighborhood who live next to them, who don't come to the meeting, that they have a problem. So since they didn't have a problem, and they brought it back to the meeting, they said, I talked to the neighbor across the street, and they thought it was a great idea.
So-
We might have some other thing, and he said, people in the community side, that they won't have a family reunion type situation, they will have somewhere to go, and all that, so that's where that came from.
Okay, so no kind of survey, no type of notification, or, like,
No.
we have letters or emails from others. So that's what I would be interested in, just taking somebody's word. I would like.
Yeah, well, no, we took what the people, and then the ones that we went around and talked to, with the ministers and all that, that's where we got ours from. We didn't have it, and we brought it back, and that's when we voted on it.
Cause the corner of and not to cut you off, but the corner of Second Avenue South, it's always you always post the neighborhood meeting.
Right.
On the east side of the street, the neighborhood meetings are always posted. I guess my whole thing is, for me, like I said, I've been a part of the neighborhood before the houses was there, before anything was there, when it was bad, when it was dangerous to live over there. I was there with my guys, with the veterans. So, I'm pretty sure that maybe some of the neighbors across the street or whatever may have a few issues, but my whole thing is, I'm here to work with the neighborhood. It's not like a place we're gonna have a club. I'm grown too. I got kids of my own, and I'm a businessman. So it's not like it's gonna be rowdy and things like that. Like, I'm doing it strictly off the community, strictly off reception, strictly off repasses, things that the community will need. So it's not like somebody gonna be out there partying. We're gonna rent the place out. I own it. I'm applying for it. So I'm not gonna rent it out to somebody else to have a function. I'm doing the functions, or whoever in the community can rent it out for their events, for their families.
okay, and I forgot to ask you, what are your hours of operation? How many days a week? What?
So right now, I think when I was reading the covenants and the rules for it, I think it was 12 a.m. that we can stay open to. But we don't, if it's a thing on the hours of the community, I'm willing to work with the community. We don't have to stay open at 12. That was just in the bylaws that I read. I'm willing to work with the community on hours and different things that they may have concerns with. I don't have a problem with that.
Okay,
That's
thank
just what was written. The thing, it can stay open to 12.
Okay, thank you. We're gonna hear from the residents now, and if y'all can come over to this end, because we're kind of makeshift, because we can't be in the council chambers, and we've got these microphones strategically placed. So, when you speak, if you can come up and sit where the president's sitting right now and tell us your opinion, and ask your questions if you have questions.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Smith. I stay directly from the blue building, right next to the building he's referring to. And it's a good idea, but it's a bad idea because there's no parking. There's no parking whatsoever. And if somebody have an event at that building, they would have to park on the side of the road or on the side where our house is. Now, people fly down that way all the time, have numerous of wrecks right in front of our house, or either people breaking down right there. So I look at it, if he has that building open for what he wanna have it open for, where's they gonna park? They won't feel safe parking on the side of the road, because we had something moved in the back of our house, and the man that brought it was in a big red truck. The teenagers came down that road flying, and the truck was sitting right there, hit the truck while it was parked. Who's to say that's not gonna happen if they parking on the side of the road going to that event center? And then people gonna think he gonna be held reliable for people cars getting broke in or getting hit trying to go to the event center. So I think, you know, with where I live at and what I can see, if he wanna do that, it need to be parking, and there's no parking whatsoever. Cause behind his building is an alley, and beside that building is a retirement home, and then it's some apartments right beside it, and right across the street is us, and then a blue building, and then there's some more houses. Where the parking gonna be at? So, that's all I had to say on that.
And I can address that. So.
Okay, well, let's hear all the
Okay.
questions, and then you can get up and respond to all the questions, because, that'll save us a little time.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that was my wife who just spoke right there, the husband. The problem I have.
And
is
your
that-
name?
My name is Tyler Smith. I stay at 6831 Second Avenue, right across from the building he's referring to. And he said in the back of the blue building, the Veterans Building, that sits like directly across from us too. I personally know the owner of that building, and the lot that he's referring to is behind his building, and there's already cars that park there all the time. They broke down, they're sitting there. And the issue that we're having right now, we've had neighbors, cars get broken into, we've had neighbors that come outside, their tags get stolen, and we have drug addicts that come down the street, and we're trying to keep that out of our neighborhood. That's basically the thing. In front of our house, we always get somebody that breaks down right there. And they'll break down and they'll sit there. I actually had to call the police, I had to call environment police several times. And that's gonna be a nuisance, what he's talking about. Now, what he's doing is a good thing. I just don't want it on our street. Now, they don't stay on Second Avenue. I do. So they can say anything. You know, you stay somewhere else in East Lake, but I actually live there. I live on the street that he's talking about. He don't live there. And none of this either. So, at the end of the day, you don't have to deal with these problems. We do. See, they can go home at nighttime and they're peaceful, but we're not. We stay on that street. You can't say what's going to happen when somebody rent that building. They're going to be parking all over there in front of your house. They're going to be doing this and doing that. It's no rules. There's no regulations. And you can't tell grown people what to do unless you're the police. So at the end of the day, I just don't want that. I have kids that live there, and we're trying to break down the confusion, all the noise, all the stuff that goes on down there, people flying down the street. We've asked the city council numerous of times to put speed bumps up to try to kind of slow the traffic down a little bit. And you're trying to bring noise and stuff around there to our neighborhood. Now, why can't you put that on First Avenue somewhere? You know, on the main street where, you know, you got traffic coming down in and out. I think that it would be better right there. On a residential neighborhood, this right here is not good. And it won't be good for me, cause I live there. I live right, directly across the street from it. And I don't wanna put up with it. And if he don't want a problem, I'm gonna be calling the police every 5 minutes. I mean, I don't have anything to do with him. I don't know this man. I'm pretty sure he's a nice guy or whatever, but I live there. This is my residence, and I don't wanna deal with it. That's it.
So which street is the one where the speeding and all the mess?
Second Avenue, where his building is, where my house is, right across the street from his building. And we never got anybody notify us about anything.
Yeah.
Let's put that out there too.
Okay, any other speaker? Okay, and then we've got the emails that, if anybody needs a copy of an email, I have some extra copies. So now, would you like to respond to those
Yeah, yes,
comments?
ma'am. And so, and I hear what they're saying, like I said, I know he said I don't live there, but I've had a business there since 2012. I have 30 veterans who live on 2nd Avenue South. So I hear his concerns. So based on his concerns, based on the map, the traffic, what he's talking about is on 2nd Avenue South, which is noted. Everybody knows that at 2nd Avenue South, they come flying down this street. The parking will not be on 2nd Avenue South. The parking will be, I know, like Dwight said, you know, about the parking. I'll talk to Mr. Spring next door on the blue building, right? Who owns the building directly next door. So in between the event center and the other veterans home, that's 69th Street. The parking will be on both sides of that street, my parking lot, and behind his building. There will be no parking on 2nd Avenue South. That's one of the things that I looked at. When we do have events, we will have Birmingham Police. We will have Birmingham Police at every event. So if there are any issues that the neighborhood has, or any questions, you know, if you want to call the police will already be there. Every event that we have, no matter the size, will have Birmingham police officers there. 69th Street between the event center and the blue building that he's referring to. It's on the map. The blue building, and it is cars back there. He's letting them park. It's only 2 cars back there. It's a white truck and another car. It's always back there, and I've seen that car. That's the only 2 cars that are back there. That lot is his lot. So at any given time, he's already talked to them and talked to the record. He's just allowing them to park right there because nothing is going on. Once the event start, he would get those. They would have to move, or he would tow those cars from the lot. It's 2 cars that park back there because it's a house directly behind, and I agree. It's a house that's directly next door to his lot that the people park their cars on. It's 2 cars. It's 30 parking spaces over there. It's only 2 cars. If you go by there now, it's either a white Escalade or another car. It's 2 cars. So there's 30 right all the time. So, but he's allowing to park there because he doesn't all the time because he doesn't use the parking lot.
Okay, so on our map, obviously your building is the one with the yellow block around it. Is this the blue building right here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and that's the parking behind it right there?
Yes, ma'am. So if you look at, so that's the event center. That's the blue building. Okay.
So where's the parking?
So the parking lot is right here. You see the building? So that's the blue building. So the parking lot is right directly behind it. That's the blue building. It's the parking lot right here. It's 30 parking spaces.
Okay, but where's the parking on the drawing? Because I can't see a space for parking.
It's on my site now. You talk on my property or?
Well,
on the property next door.
The property that you said there's 30
Yeah.
spaces. I'm
Yeah,
trying to see
okay.
where,
So this is my building right here. And that's the blue building. This is the parking lot. Right when you turn down, make a right on 69th Street. So
here's 69th and here's yours. Where's the parking?
his parking is right here. It's right here behind this building.
Oh, it's across the street.
It's right across the street. And this is 69th Street.
Okay, well, I was in the wrong
Right,
building.
and this is 69th Street. This is 69th Street on your on the picture. So you can park.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am. So that's 6908. Yeah, 6900. So that's this building right here, and his parking lot is directly behind this building.
oh, okay.
So the parking lot is here. That's his bill.
No, that's my building.
Okay,
That's his building.
so,
He has 30 parking spaces right there.
that, is that the street running?
No, that's just the way the map is. So if you look at his building, right, so this is his property, that's his building, that's the building, the parking lot is right here. That's his building, the parking lot is right there.
So this is 69th
Yes,
Street
ma'am.
right there.
Yes, ma'am, not Second Avenue, that's Second Avenue South.
Okay.
That's where the old Cascade Farms used to be across the street.
Okay.
Nobody ever parks on the street. So the
Well,
parking,
you did say that there would be no parking in the residential neighborhood. How are you going to stop people from parking there?
so we won't allow any, because I'm gonna, on every event, we have a Birmingham police officer. We have a dedicated parking lot. We have more than enough parking places.
Yeah, but we know people.
Right. And
We know what people do.
Right, but we won't allow
Okay.
anybody to park over there, because it's not gonna be that kind of a function. And like, I know
Okay.
he said about Birmingham, he would call, police will be there anyway, so I will make sure that, like I said,
They're still not gonna stop him from parking right there, because, listen, I understand he said it was only 2 cars in that parking lot. That's what he seen. But every day we there, it's more cars there because it's a house right there and it's a duplex right there. People are always parking right there. So when you get ready to have an event, if them people is not there in their car right there, then how you gonna stop that? You gonna have people parking in the road,
They'll
like
park
on the
mid-
side of the
They sell
road.
drugs right there on Division all the time. We,
Right there where the
multiple
parking lot
times
is.
we've told the police about that. It's always drug activity going on right there. We trying to stop this.
like I said,
This don't need to be in a residential neighborhood.
like I said before,
Okay,
one more thing, I'm part of the community. I've been there. That parking lot is a private parking lot. At any moment, he can have the cars towed. He is allowing them to park there because he's not using the building. That's the only reason.
okay.
And,
Counselor Tate, do you have any questions or comments?
and another thing too, so I'm there every day. The veterans home is next door. I'm there every day.
You
Well,
don't
we
live
did-
there.
we never
You don't
seen
live
you.
there. I've never seen
Okay,
you.
okay, but let's not be
You not live there.
just hollering out. Let's
Yeah,
have
I
some,
understand.
a little
Yes,
bit
ma'am.
of decorum here.
I just hate when people do that, they don't
Yeah,
stay
and
around.
we have a sign-in sheet that's somewhere in the room, and we really need everybody who has attended the meet, or who's here to sign in, so that, if we need to ask somebody a question, we can find you. Because saying, oh yeah, there was a guy there, but he didn't sign in, so, okay. So, Counselor Tate, did you have,
Yeah, I got like some twofold comments. Yeah, I get. One of my things, I didn't see you present a safety plan, for this event center. And then I'm hearing, speeding, and Councilor Abbott and I know, how that goes and what it takes, for residents to get speed cushions and calming in a neighborhood just because people want it. It doesn't happen like that. It's a process that, that the city warrants for one to get, and, and I'm hearing, the concerns, of the neighborhood. And, what I tend to see a lot in community is everybody wanna open up an event center. And I don't, for the life of me, don't understand why people think people wanna party, all the time. And we not, I don't know what this is your business, your vision, but when I reimagine what community look like, I'm looking for sustainability, like something that these people can walk out their doors and say, I wanna go to a standing farmer's market, or, something of that nature. And for me, with people speeding, I just can't see, the parking being controlled, hearing issues, around parking and safety is just a major concern for me. We can say we can regulate people who don't have this or that, but we tend to see where we say it doesn't happen. And that's all I really have to say on that, and really hadn't got the feedback from a lot of the neighbors, just more feedback, so of people that attend the neighborhood meetings. and not all the people that are in, you know, the proximity, you know, of the area.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, this is my comment. I'm always going to err on the side of residents who actually live in the neighborhood. I've been on the council what seems like forever, and Eastlake used to be my neighborhood before it was, you know, divided up and taken into other districts. So Shirley Holston and I used to ride the streets of Eastlake looking for trouble, and we found plenty of it. So the two things about event centers are parking, because the people who attend event centers do not park where you tell them to park. They park where they please. And if an event center is in a neighborhood or adjacent to one, for some reason, people seem to think that parking in front of someone else's house is much safer than parking in the parking lot where they're supposed to park. So, and then you've got the noise. You know, as time has passed, people seem to believe that louder is better. And if the building that you're using was not built to have a lot of noise stopped at the walls, then the residents surrounding you get to listen to it. And the police are incapable of enforcing the noise ordinance. It's either that or somebody told them not to. So the residents call and nothing happens, and then they call their councilman and they say a bunch of words that you probably can't repeat if they're mad enough. And I cannot in good conscience support an event center adjacent on three sides to R3 single family homes, especially ones that we just finished building within the last 5 years to try to improve the residential character of the neighborhood. And I remember Cascade Plunge, and it was a fine place back in the day until it wasn't fine anymore. So, you know, it was sad to see it get bulldozed, but the houses are beautiful. The houses over there are nice. So, you know, that is my issue. My issue is R3 and event centers do not go together. They just don't. And you seem like such a nice young man, and if you are housing mentally ill veterans, God bless you. But I still can't support an event center. And it's because it's next to people's homes. And I know what human beings do because I've been through this battle in my neighborhoods in my district, where we have not only event centers but businesses that blare noise out over the neighborhood for not just a few houses but for blocks. And we can get nothing done from our own city. Even a council member can't get anything done about it. So I just don't want to invite trouble. And that's kind of where I'm coming from. And it's just from 21 years of experience on the council and knowing what happens in reality as opposed to what we say is supposed to happen.
I guess the only thing I can say is 2nd Avenue South, across the street, is where the houses were built. But it's not three. It's not three sides. The building that does not.
According to our site map, all this yellow is R3 single family, and here's your building.
Correct.
That's three sides. 1, 2, 3.
Well, on the right of the building is the blue. It's not a residential. It's not a residential home on the right side of the building.
No, 6908 looks like some kind of commercial building.
I own 6908. That's
6916
Yeah,
looks like some kind of commercial building, but it might be apartments. We can't tell.
this.
But people who live in apartments are disturbed by noise too. So, you know, if you have ears, you're disturbed by noise. But anyway, that's just a personal opinion from many years of dealing with complaints.
I guess that's a good point.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Right.
just,
Yes, personal.
it's just years of experience. So,
I guess when we went over there and decided to to house the veterans. The place was bad. It was horrible. And we went over there and we invested in the area, in Eastlake. I've been there before. The houses were there. I've been there when you couldn't even walk up and down the street. I was there. I went to Eastlake before any of the resurgence on that street had started. I guess, and my thing is, whatever I do, I never want to be a nuisance to the residents. I never want to be a nuisance to anybody. But we took a chance on Eastlake because we saw the vision before anything was even there. When I went over there, high crime, it was shootings every day, and we still opened up.
Well, I
In
would
the mix of
like
it
to,
all.
I would like to be able to count on your personal assurances, but I've heard personal assurances before.
No, I'm not.
And they came from very nice people. So Dr. O'Quinn, since this is your district, do you have any comment you'd like to make?
I guess the only other, concern I would have is that a change in zoning, is a change in perpetuity, so you're telling me to come.
Yeah, you said right.
Okay.
Our government microphone is still muted.
So, the other perspective that we have to take is that it's not just you, it's everybody who comes after you too, because the zoning stays with the property. So, you may do everything that you're saying you're gonna do. We've been burned a bunch of times, so.
We have scars.
Yeah, but anyway, there's, for us to, you probably aren't gonna be there, forever, and I gotta look out for these folks' long-term interests too, so, that's the only other thing that I would add, is that the change in zoning stays, even though you may move on.
Well, the thing is with the zone, whatever we do with the zoning, I'm not leasing the building, so I actually own the building, so the building is there.
Okay,
I'm not
well,
coming in-
I think that we've probably heard enough to make a decision about this, and then, whatever communications you wanna make after that. I mean, we could rezone this building and you could put it you could put it up for sale the next day, and we would have absolutely nothing we could do about it. We say, but that guy told us. And it's like, well, so what? Anybody can tell you anything, and they will. I'm sure you wouldn't do that to us. But we've been there, and it's been done. People, when money's involved, everything goes out the window. So I think at this point we need to ask if there's anyone else that has any relevant comments to make regarding the case for rezoning or not for rezoning. And if there isn't anyone, then I will accept a motion. So, anyone? Okay.
Will I make a motion to vote no, that the zoning, remains the same?
CB1.
CB1, that we do
Okay.
not rezone.
I'll second that motion. So, any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So, we are not going to recommend approval of this to the full council, but it will go to the full council, and you will have, and you will have, and you will have, we'll all have a second bite at the apple. And the council is the one that has the final decision. So, there we are. So this case,
I did have a question. So, to try to address some concerns, the concerns of the community, I know you asked about the safety plan and some things like that.
I have a great idea. Before we, because we've made our decision here. I suggest that the neighborhood president, I'm volunteering you, and some of his cohorts get together with the people who actually live around there and see if y'all can come up with any plan that would allow this to happen
Right.
without contention.
And that's fair.
And
No
so,
problem with
Mr. President, are you okay with that?
I'm fine with it.
Okay, good, because, you know, if people could work things out, but there would have to be like legal covenants. It's not like you can just say, oh yeah, we're all happy, and then when something goes wrong, there's nothing in writing, there's nothing legal.
Right.
And we're back where we always end up, in court. So let's do that. Let's let everybody get to, and I know that y'all have a lot more neighbors over there besides y'all. And
We
so.
all over there.
And what we've found is I've learned a lot about noise in my tenure on the council, and I've learned about bass beats travel further than the other beats, and I've also learned that the noise can go 5 or 6 blocks away. It can go from Avondale to Forest Park, and somebody can be cooking out in their backyard listening to a bunch of stuff they didn't intend to listen to. So noise is a very peculiar thing, and of course it's in the ear of the beholder too, if you think it's noise or not. But anyway, this case is concluded. We will not, we will not recommend approval to the council, but if between now and your hearing date y'all come up with a fabulous plan, who knows?
And I agree with Councilor Abbott, because I believe in, collective voices.
I agree.
Like getting in the neighborhood, I heard the president say what I heard was, it was the people that come to the neighborhood meeting. Everybody can't come to the neighborhood meeting. So I would say, as the person with this business, is take some time out on a Saturday and go knock on the door. You may want to do like a little cookout and just talk to them about, like, what would y'all like to see happen here? And you got kids there, and think about the generation. This probably could be a beautiful space, besides people coming and partying. So, we really have to think about that at the level where this country is when it comes to violence, people shooting guns with just a disregard for life. And I can't even imagine what we seeing with exhibition driving. Somebody coming on 2nd Avenue decide one day that they want to do like they just did on the freeway, hold the traffic and just start doing donuts. So I just can't even imagine something like that. But I would, second what Councilor Abbott said, is sit down and have a conversation with the people in the neighborhood. 'Cause I think a lot of times when people think about a business idea, they don't think about the people that actually live there. And then when we crank our cars up and we don't actually live, or we are not planted in the neighborhood, we gone on to Greystone or Hoover or Springville or Oldenville or somewhere, we don't have to deal with it. So I would highly suggest that, like Councilor Abbott said, get with the president and not just listen to the voices of the ones who are attending the neighborhoods, but be courtesy. Do a courtesy knock on everybody door and say, hey, what's your name again? What was your name?
Courtney Jones.
Courtney. I'm Courtney. I own this building. Let's talk about, like, what.
Yeah, I ain't have no problem with it. I'm gonna get with them. See what we can I feel like we can come up with something.
Okay, well, we appreciate y'all attending, and we're going to go to our next item, which is the URC grant for Titusville. So if y'all want to commiserate out in the hallway, that'll be great. Okay, who's making the presentation on the URC grant for Titusville?
Good afternoon, I'm Hannah Garman. I serve as the Historic Preservation Manager for the City of Birmingham. It's great to be here this afternoon. So as the city, we've been working with the Titusville Historic Marker Committee, who's been going around and doing wonderful work researching and marking historical places in Titusville. We want to apply for an underrepresented communities grant from the National Park Service in order to survey and register that neighborhood to the National Register of Historic Places. We've been working with the community over several years, and we're now to the point where we can apply for and hopefully receive one of these grants to do more historical research and survey of the neighborhood.
Okay, underrepresented communities, that's what URC stands for.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so is there in order to be an underrepresented community, is there an income level or
The National
does
Park
that-
Service sets that up with their kind of qualifications, and usually it's underserved communities that are represented in the National Register. This is a historically African-American community, and so it is traditionally underrepresented in the National Register of Historic Places. So those type of projects are what these grants target.
So is the ultimate goal to have a local historic district and get on the National Register, and is that?
Well, that is up to the community, so if they would like to pursue that local designation after in our listing, we're certainly, happy to work with them on that. And I think that is something, that is one of their ultimate goals, is to have some sort of, design review aspect. But first, we have to get the listing and the designation.
Yeah, and all those surveys of all those houses and
Yes,
what
ma'am.
makes them historic. And-
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, and I like that. I think we need more local historic districts and more protection for everybody. People say, well, I don't want my taxes to go up. Yeah, but when you sell your house, you want to sell it for a lot of money. So, you have to make up your mind here.
That is correct. National Register listing also opens up commercial businesses to tax credits and those type of incentives. So being listed in the National Register, so it could open up, grant opportunities and tax incentive opportunities for the neighborhood.
So if you turn your house into an Airbnb, you can get tax credits.
It has to be rental residential. It can't be like an owner, like secondary or primary residence. So it has to be like a rental residential, long-term, not a short-term rental. You have to own the property and put investment into it before you can actually use that.
That's terrifying. Where's our ordinance?
Well, the short-term rental is different. Short-term is considered transient lodging. It is not.
So you can't get historic tax credits for transient lodging.
I mean, that, I would have to defer to them,
You have to, it can't be your primary or secondary residence, so it would have to be an income producing property. So if you did, I guess it gets zoned for rental residential. I'm not exactly sure how that works, but for the Park Services point, it has to be an income producing property and you can't live there.
Okay, but zoning has nothing to do with it, because I
No.
could rent my house out today and it's zone D1, so boom. That's scary.
But again, there's a difference in rental, and I don't know how Park Service would view it, but there's a difference. Short-term rental, transient lodging is not regulated by the Fair Housing Act, and it's not covered under the Alabama Uniform Landlord Tenant Act. So it's considered something different when you say rental property, generally talking about someone who is renting long-term.
Yes, that is kind of what, I've not run into that in my issue with where there's been short-term rentals. It's usually people who own properties who are then, we had one in Norwood, that's a perfect example, a duplex in Norwood, utilized the state historic tax credit. It's a long-term rental property that he owns, he lives in the neighborhood, but he utilizes those tax credits, and it's a rental property for him. But it just can't be your primary or secondary residence to utilize tax credits.
Yeah, and I wouldn't hold up Titusville's grant for any amount of money. I think it's a great thing, but I could see where this is a whole new can of worms, because in certain neighborhoods, people are buying up houses and turning them into short-term rentals, and although they make them look nice, we don't want our neighborhoods to turn into giant rental, short-term rental. If we wanted that, we'd just let a hotel bulldoze everything and just put up their hotel. So I can see where, gosh, we're in a heck of a mess.
It's a different type of thing, especially post-COVID. You are seeing a pickup, I think, in rental properties, especially with housing shortages. So I think it's something that we will grapple with over, like, as the nation over the next 20 or 30 years, trying to figure out the balance between how to keep neighborhoods, and how you also make money in rental properties. But Titusville is a great community, and I don't think they have that problem yet. They have a great community who are excited and who want to document their history, and they want to mark their history and document it through the National Register process.
But this is something they have to think about.
Yes, ma'am.
And y'all have to think about, we all have to think about, because in my own neighborhood in the last 6 months, I have seen 8 houses suddenly turn into short-term rentals, and all these strange people coming through with their suitcases and their parties. The parties are so nice because we don't have any parking to start with, and you bring 50 of your closest friends over for a party because renting it, you can do anything.
Most of the people who do those types of flips don't utilize historic tax credits, because tax credits require you to follow the Secretary of Interior standards for rehabilitation, and then you can't do exactly what you want to do. You have to follow those sets of standards. And most people who are looking to make a quick buck, a lot of times won't utilize those standards because they cost more money, they cost more time, and you have to go through a review process at the federal and state level to get approval for what you can do to that structure.
Well, that's good.
So there is a long process to obtaining tax credits. It's not readily accessible to just me or you if we wanted to walk up on the street and get it. So you don't really see tax credits utilized in that way for kind of the short-term rental. You see it used in buildings like the Frank and the Elyton Hotel and projects like that.
Good. Madam Counselor, do you have any questions, comments?
Well, I know this down your alley, historical.
Well, yeah,
That's a good thing for.
I'm a fan. I'm a fan, but once it's been bulldozed, you know.
You can't get it back once it's gone.
Okay, do we have a motion?
Well, I make a motion that we recommend this item to the full council.
I'll second that. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So our last item is, thank you very much. Our last item is item 5, appointments. We have 2 vacancies on design review. We have, I think it's 2 vacancies on the Birmingham Planning Commission. And we have some, excuse me, some resumes here. And my question for the committee, which today is you and me, is do we want to interview all of the applicants, or or is someone's resume just so fabulous that we know off the top of our heads that they would be fabulous? Because we can set up our interviews via Zoom. We don't have to do in person. So that's my understanding.
If the committee meets, it has to be an open meeting.
To interview applicants, we would have to do it in person.
I will look at it.
Could we do it in a room and have them on Zoom and people could come in and listen to it? Well, anyway, we're just trying to figure ways to make it work easier. So what is your opinion? Would you like to interview all of the applicants? I think
would
right
like
now
to.
we have 3 for design review, and I'm not sure how many we've got for planning commission.
I
So,
would like to have an interview to, have a chance to speak to the applicants to see who submitted to sit on the board and make some decisions that way. To know, for me, to know who I would recommend being appointed.
okay, because I just happen to know all these people, and so I have an unfair advantage. Okay, well, what we will do, Dr. Lee will try to schedule appointments, and if we can count on you to tell us whether it's legal to have Zoom interviews. If all we're doing is interviewing people, if we were in a room at City Hall and we allowed the applicants to Zoom in, and then citizens could come and sit and listen if they wanted to, if that would be legal.
Yeah, that's generally been the opinion where if it's something that has to be an open meeting, the members of the body have to meet together. But, we've allowed that pre-COVID, in certain circumstances, and have the other people being able to speak remotely.
Okay.
So that can be done. I get the only question that's in my mind that I'm gonna look at is whether like an interview would have to be in an open meeting or not. Usually err on the side of caution, and if the the quorum of the body is meeting and you're talking about something that's gonna come before the body at a later date, then it's subject to Open Meetings Act. But I'll check, I don't remember anything specific about interviews, but I will check the act and see if there's any
Okay.
exemption for that kind of activity.
Yeah, because we could just choose people by reading their resumes and not have any interviews, and then nobody would know anything.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Dr. Lee will set these up, and if
Mhm.
we'll ask the mayor if we can talk to you, and then you can tell us. Well, wait a minute, we don't have to ask them if we can talk to you, because you're an attorney.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's,
So
I mean,
we
if you're
just-
giving an assignment, this is just something that we can, I
yeah,
can look at quickly.
yeah, we
I'm
just,
really supposed to
we-
say,
we
you've gotta
wanna
do
do
an
it-
intake form.
we want to do it right, and
Yeah.
you can send me an intake form. I'll fill it out. I'm a rule following person most of the time. Okay, so Dr. Lee will set up the appointments, and we'll try to get them all in one big clump so that we can, meet in one of these meeting rooms and have them on Zoom if it's legal, and we can have them in person if it's not. But he will check with you and Counselor Woods to set it up so we're all together. Okay, so now we're to item 6, which is the fun part, adjournment. Does anybody have anything else before we adjourn? No one, so,
Motion to adjourn.
second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye.